take advantage of every opportunity that's presented. Even if you're not in a profession that you want to end up in eventually, I would say take the opportunity to learn and to grow. Our motto is, we invest in those who invest back in themselves.
Right.
Sometimes what I've found over the years is there are times when people just really want someone to just listen, to listen and say, you know what, you can do this.
Right.
You can do this, and we're right here to walk right alongside you.
Welcome to another episode of the Southern Executive Experience. Today we've got a very special guest, Ms. Therese Hamilton, the CEO of Coastal Area Community Action Authority. Thank you so much for being here today, Ms. Therese, and just want to give you the floor real quick, introduce yourself, and just thank you for coming.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I am very excited to be here with you to have this conversation. And I'm Therese Hamilton, and I am the CEO of Coastal Georgia Area Community Action Authority, very long name. And we provide services. We're a local, actually nonprofit organization, been in existence for a long time, over 50 years.
I'm showing 1967.
1967 is when we were incorporated.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Doing a lot of good in the community and since for a long time.
Yes.
So start off, tell us a little bit about what got you to where you are today. What's your story?
Oh, wow. You know, that's quite interesting because I was actually born and raised right here in Brunswick, Georgia.
Okay.
Graduate of Brunswick High School back in 1981. That's a long time ago.
Oh, man.
Yes, back in 1981. And I went off to school, got married. My husband is retired from the Army.
Okay.
And so we, of course, moved off and have lived multiple places. And so I actually back in the probably maybe around about 1998, my mother was still here. And so she was in and out of the hospital. And so we were living at that time in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so I was coming back and forth, checking on her. I'm an only child, so seeing about her. And so she had gotten to where she really needed to be with us. And so we went back I took her back to Tulsa with me for a little while, and she got better and wanted to come back. And for some reason, she thought someone was going to pick her house up and take it off and run off with it. But she came back, and then she got sick again, unfortunately. Oh. And so that time I came and I told her, I said, Mom, you're just going to have to come and stay with us until we, retire, until my husband retires, because he's from Camden County, Woodbine.
Gotcha.
And so during that time, it was interesting because my best friend from, for forever, I think we were pretty much, I think we were like born a couple of rooms apart in the hospital or something. We've been best friends just that long.
Right.
And she would tell me, your mother does not want to go out there to Oklahoma. She wants to stay here. So you need to move back. And at that time I said, well, I had a job. I had a really good job at the sheriff's office there. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't interested in moving back because we weren't going to retire back here. And so, but when I came back, I said, well, let me check and see what the job market is like in the area.
Right.
And I did. I went to the Department of Labor, and I started to see exactly what it was that was out there. And I happened upon a position with Coastal that they were advertising for a planner, which was what I was doing at the time at the sheriff's office.
Right.
And so I put in my resume, not expecting anything from it, but I put in my resume just because, so I could satisfy my mother and say, Mama, I looked for a job. I did. I really did.
Right.
And so from there, I got an interview with the former executive director who was my mentor, Mr. Leonard Dawson, and it's been pretty much history since then. I started, and I didn't get the job as the planner.
Right.
I actually got the job. He offered me the job as his administrative assistant.
Okay.
And so from there is where it is how I got started here at Coastal.
So you've worked your way up through different positions and all the way up to the the leader of the company.
Yes, I
That's
did.
awesome.
I did. And what was so interesting is I had never heard of community action before starting to work here.
Right.
And it's actually, we're a network that's across the country, across all of the states, Puerto Rico, but I had never heard of it.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
So it's a bigger organization than just you're connected nationwide.
Yes, yes. Our network is nationwide.
Oh,
We were actually, Community Action came out of the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964
Okay.
under Lyndon Johnson. So it was one of those programs.
Awesome.
And we've been around ever since.
Growing and helping people and doing
Yes.
everything. And
Yes.
I'm just going to read y'all's mission statement real quick, if
okay.
you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
And, I just saw it. I really liked it. It was Coastal Georgia Area Community Action Authority promotes self-sufficiency and will strive to improve the quality of life of families throughout education, training, and comprehensive services and advocacy.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot, and that's powerful.
Yes, we do. We try and work with what we do is we focus on the whole family.
Right.
We have a number of different programs.
Okay.
And, a lot of people say, oh, y'all do so much, you do so much. But we have, with all those different programs that we have, they're all intertwined in a way in which it works to help and assist the whole entire family. Because I have a saying is that you can't have, the mother comes with the child and the child comes with the mother, and you can't serve or work with one without doing the same for the other, because no matter how conducive the environment is in our Head Start early childhood education programs,
Right.
if the child is going back to a home that is, we have a parent that's concerned about, that doesn't have a job or trying to get a job or needs to further their education, or they're concerned about their rents or lights, or they're living in a state of crisis, then it, the entire family can't thrive.
Well, that's very unique, because I think you see a lot of organizations, they focus on one thing. And in that way, sounds like y'all do the whole picture, which helping the whole family is obviously going to help better than just a single issue. And what all do y'all do at what different departments do y'all have, and what different services do y'all provide?
Okay, so we have our largest is our early childhood education division.
Right.
And that encompasses our Head Start program, our early Head Start program, and our pre-K services. And that particular program, we provide services in 9 counties, 9 of our coastal counties. Then we also have our weatherization services, which is much smaller, but I think it's so important because that particular program works. The majority of our recipients are elderly.
Right.
And we have seniors that are living in older homes that are not energy efficient. They find themselves with a high energy burden where they are actually paying out more money towards their heating or cooling costs. And with that, we have a team of wonderful guys who come in. They will do a full whole house energy audit,
Right.
to see where the energy is escaping from. And then from there, they will go in and they'll address those measures. And that's more, whether that is caulking, whether that is window replacement. They even test the appliances to see if the appliances are energy efficient. The refrigerator, the stove. They'll put in what do they call the over the stove, the exhaust systems, low flow shower heads, and things like that. They do insulation. We do insulation, sidewall insulation, attic insulation, things of this nature. But anything it is that we can do to make the home more energy efficient, so that they're spending less on their energy bill.
And I'm sure the lower income housing, that's probably a huge problem. I mean, older installation, older appliances, all that type of stuff, which of course spends more energy, which of course costs more. Yeah, so
Exactly.
and I'm sure lately, I would only guess, with all the hurricanes and stuff, that department may be getting a few more phone calls than normal.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. It really and honestly, where people are, where they may have had some damages to their roof, even though we don't do the roofing portion of it, we do try our best to work with them in order to work with contractors to come in to assist us with that. And then then to complement that, we have what we call our LIHEAP program, which is Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program.
Okay.
And that is a one-time assistance where they will get a one-time assistance towards credit towards their heating costs or their cooling, whatever it is, whichever utility pays their heating bill in the winter or their cooling bills in the summer, in order to help alleviate those, assist with that as well.
Gotcha.
And then we also have a senior program in McIntosh County. With our seniors there, they're in Elonia, where they come in every day for a hot, nutritious meal, and they get to interact and to socialize with each other. Anything it is that we can do in order to help them stay in their homes. And then we have our with that, we also have our crisis programs where we're assisting families when they find themselves in crisis because of their rent being too high, even mortgage. We've assisted people whose mortgages, they haven't been able to pay their mortgages. And since COVID, unfortunately, the cost of rent has doubled and tripled in some cases. So we find a lot of our families that are suffering because of that.
Yeah, I think especially since COVID, you're right. Pricing and cost of living has definitely gone up. And those of us who are less fortunate are probably, those are people who suffer the most.
They are the ones that suffer the most. They are.
They
really and honestly are. So, we even have families that find themselves in a hotel or motel, and we work with them to try to get them stabilized in permanent housing some type of way as well. So,
if someone was looking for these services or knew someone who needed these services, what would be the best way to reach out to y'all?
Oh, just give us a call at our office. Our main office here in Glenn County is 912-264-3281.
Gotcha.
And then if they call us here and they're living in any of our other counties, then we're able to connect them with the other counties as well.
Awesome. So just call the main number and they can set you up with all the different services and different things that y'all do. And so now that we got a pretty good idea of what y'all do there, what from a leadership standpoint, what is your biggest challenge?
Oh, wow. I think the biggest challenge is trying to ensure that we make the most of the resources that we have.
That's right.
I think that's the biggest challenge. And that can be because a lot of the times, some people, I would say some think that, okay, well, just go over to Coastal and they will pay your rent or do this or do that. And it's really not that simple.
Right.
Because what we are entrusted with resources, and they're federal, state, private resources. We're entrusted with those. And though the need is so great, we have to make sure that what we're trying to do is to maximize that by being very, very much cognizant that we cannot help everyone.
Right.
And so with that, our motto is we invest in those who invest back in themselves.
Right.
And with that being said, it's like anyone who's coming in for services, they are given a full-fledged assessment. And through that assessment, we're determining what it is or how it is that you may have gotten in this particular situation, or how you have ended up on hard times, and working through not what is current, but what's the history, but diving deeper into that so that we can assist people in getting to that point where we're saying, okay, we need to do these things in order so that you don't find yourself back in this situation again. So it's like helping them to find out what those underlying causes of their situation are, and helping them to move past those barriers and helping them tear down those barriers to move forward. So that's one of the biggest things, is making sure that we are very, very much aware of and are good stewards of the funds that we're entrusted with.
Y'all aren't just trying to put a Band-Aid on the situation. Y'all are trying to fix the whole thing, and y'all want people to have skin in the game, that want to be better and want to do certain things. And
yes.
And like you said, you may have to do some checking out to see, what ways you may have to help that person.
Yes.
And everybody's individual. That's good to know. I think maybe, it's nice when people want to be better, and want to do things themselves and stuff. And that's the people y'all are looking to help.
And those are the ones we're looking to help. And those are the ones that give us encouragement because, even with those that are working hard to try and get to a better place,
right,
we understand that sometimes you may have a setback. Sometimes, something may happen to the car and you can't get to work a few days and something like that. But it's ultimately, when you have someone who is truly invested in themselves, invested in the fact that they want a better life, not for them only for themselves, but for their children as well, then those are the ones that you're like willing to go that extra mile to do a little extra in order to help them to get there.
Absolutely, helping people. I mean, it's helping people that want to help themselves.
Helping people who help themselves. That's exactly what our motto is.
Absolutely. What's the most exciting thing happening in your organization right now?
Oh, exciting. The most exciting thing that's happening right at this moment. Every year we have a gala. And most people think of, everything is fundraising. But with our gala, what excites me the most about it is the fact that we use this as an opportunity to show what it is that we do. So we have families that we have worked with, either some of them have been over the years, some of them been for a short period of time, but we use that opportunity to showcase our families. And that really excites me because I'm like, you have someone who has come so far and who may, when you first met them, have thought that, oh my gosh, life is so bleak. It is just, I'm just not going to make it. I don't know what I'm going to do. But then they come through and they're at a point where they're like, I did this.
Yeah.
I did this, and I never thought I could do this. I never thought I would get to this point. And that is and that really excites me. It really does. The successes that we have really, really excite me. So that's what I'm very excited about at this particular moment.
So y'all share those. That's what y'all do at that gala in December. December 14th?
December 14th.
At the Jekyll Island Convention Center?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
And that's, so we get very excited about that. I mean, ecstatic about that.
Well, sharing successes and not only probably motivates you, but it motivates others in their position to say if they could do it, maybe I could do it.
Exactly. And that's really what we want. We want people to know that you can do it. You can. It's, and sometimes people in life, it's like they had no one that believed in them,
right?
Or no one to encourage them. And sometimes what I've found over the years is there are times when people just really want someone to just listen, to listen and say, you know what, you can do this. Right. You can do this, and we're right here to walk right alongside you.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. And just knowing somebody's there just means a lot to people.
It does. It really does. It means a lot. It really means a lot. I've had many opportunities over the years where I've interacted with clients that we've worked with and families that we worked with. One time, there's one instant that always, and I think I've told this to so many people, but I went to, it was a number of years ago, and sometimes when I'm out in the counties going from center to center, this particular day, I believe I was in Long County, and so I was on my way. I was leaving the Head Start Center on my way back to the office, and I ran across our weatherization van.
Right.
And it was in a yard, and I was like, they're the guys. So let me just stop and see what they're doing.
Uh-oh.
So, yes, unexpectedly. So I pulled in and I stopped. And so as I was getting out, the owner of the home, he was in a double wide mobile home. The owner of the home came to the door, and I introduced myself, and I told him, I said, well, I was just coming to see. I said, I saw our van here, and I was just coming to check to see what the guys are doing, making sure they're treating you right. And so he said, oh, yes, ma'am, they are. And he brought me into his home, and he gave me a tour of it. You would have thought he was that he was giving me a tour of Taj Mahal.
Right.
He was just so proud of his home, and he was so happy and so appreciative of the things that we were doing. So I'm walking around his house, and we went from room to room, and he was telling me exactly what every room was. And so he was talking about some of the things that the guys had already done and what they were working on. And he was so happy about the little things. But then, I looked at the home and I thought to myself, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more that he needs.
Right.
And I just really wish that our funding that we could do, if I could take it and pull this off of his property and pull in another mobile home here, but the fact that he thought the little things that we were doing, he thought that meant so much to him.
Yeah.
And it just really did my heart so much good to know that, it doesn't matter. It's just long as, someone, it's the showing that you care. And he was just so happy about those things that we were doing there. And so that just made my heart just jump for joy.
Well, it sounds as if, we all sometimes we think we got to do big gestures. We've got to do the big, replace the whole house. You got to give them everything they want for Christmas or that kind of thing. And just the little thing, knowing somebody's trying or somebody cares, doesn't take everything in the world. It doesn't take all the money in the world.
That is so true, because that's exactly what that showed me that day. It was like, it doesn't take all the money in the world. It's just the little things, and the fact that he knew that there was someone that cared, and there was somebody to come out there and just do these few little things that was going to help him with his home, with his home. So,
and the other thing from that story I got was like, you said it was a mobile home, but to him it was the Taj Mahal.
Yes.
People take a lot of pride in their home, and having a home gives you just that extra level of pride. I think,
that is so true. He was so full of pride about his home, so full of pride, and I loved it. I
awesome.
Absolutely loved it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, as far as, I won't keep you too much longer.
Oh, no. I'm enjoying this.
Awesome.
I'm enjoying this.
Well, thank you. What would you give as your advice to just the average person out there? What advice would you give them, the things you need to put in place so you don't get in a bad spot? Anything can happen. We all run into problems and things happen to all of us that put us in places. But what are the core few things that someone can put in their daily life to make sure they put themselves in the best position possible?
Okay. I would say that one of the first things I think that we need to understand is that there's the difference between a want and a need.
Yep.
And really, truly understanding that, and truly understanding the difference between the want and what is the need. And that will make a big, huge difference. I think another thing that I see is that sometimes a lot of our families come to us and there's like, when we're talking about having something set aside for an emergency, because you never know when an emergency might occur.
Right.
And people think that you've got to put a lot of money towards that. And that is not the case. So if your paycheck only allows for $5 a week, then that's what you do. That's where you start. You start where you're at. You don't think of the big picture, because if you just take it and you just put aside that $5 a week, then, at that point you've taken the first step. But a lot of times it's just taking that first step and knowing that you're not alone.
Right.
You're not alone. No matter what, people are struggling all together, just all around. No matter what, people are just struggling. And I think that is one of the main things, is that just to understand the difference between wants and needs. Right. And and a budget. I live by a budget. I have a budget that I live by. I mean, religiously.
Yep.
And I think that is so important. And people, to living from day to day, or not seeing yourself having a future. And I think if we can visualize what it is that we can see in our future, then we can start working towards that. And I think that may sound just kind of like like pie in the sky, but it's not. It really is not.
You got to have a vision. You got to have a goal.
Yes.
And you got to, and like you said, you can't always get everything you want.
Right.
And I think
Right.
everyone deals with those things.
Right.
And you don't, and you got to stay within your means. And one thing you just said about, put away what you can, for that rainy day. And if I just watched a video yesterday on YouTube, if you put away that money if you were 18 years old and put away $5 a paycheck, what that would be with compounded interest by the time you were 50 is amazing. The people don't think about that, but it's that little bit of money put away by a long period of time can really grow.
That is so true. Yep. That is so true. And because so many people think, well, I can't. I've got to pay this and I've got to pay that, but you're paying yourself. Right. You've got to also, the same way you budget to pay your bills, budget to pay yourself. Right. To pay yourself.
That's right. I don't live by it, but I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey. I can't say I live everything by it, but I try to have most of those principles, and it's helped me a lot.
It does.
Well, is there anything that you would like to say? Are there anything that we missed or about personally or about about your organization that you'd like to share?
Well, I didn't talk much about our Head Start and our early Head Start program.
Well, let's talk about that.
I did not. I didn't say a whole lot about it because I think education is so important. Right. And so with our early Head Start program, we actually start with pregnant moms, working with the moms, and so that they understand the importance of their doctor's appointments, the importance of preparing for your child's education before your child is even born, those types of things. And so that program is we start accepting the babies at 6 weeks of age, and they go up to age 3. And then once they turn 3, then they enter into our Head Start program. And so I think that is right now, post-COVID, we've had a lot to deal with our children. One of the things we've seen that is really breaking my heart is the fact that we have so many more children now that have so many different types of behavioral issues. Right. And we're seeing it as young as in our Head Start program, and I know that our school systems are seeing it as well. And so that is a challenge that I know that we as a community, we as a society, we have got to address because it's going to hurt us. It's hurting us now, and it's going to continue to hurt us. But
I'm sorry to cut you off there, but like kids on the spectrum, or it's more trauma, or is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. Okay, it is a little bit of both. It really is. And with our program, one of the things that we're fortunate enough to be able to do is that we have a mental health piece as well, where we're able to work with mental health professionals to get children that we may start to see these behaviors manifest. We are able to get them observed. We're able to have them assessed early on, so that the mental health specialists can then start working with the parents, coming up with a plan for the parents in preparation. Because if we don't get it early, it, like I said, it's going to continue to manifest, and it'll move it with them into the school system, and that's not going to help our school systems either at all. Right. And so that is one of the things that we do, but we also. With our Head Start program, of course it is. And one thing I have to say is that a lot of people think that it is child care, and it is not. It's early childhood education. They have a curriculum. Creative curriculum is the curriculum that we utilize. Our children are tested 3 times a year. They're tested when they come in at the beginning of the year. They're tested again in the fall. In the fall and in the spring, and then at the end of the school year to see how they progress. Our teachers, they take the test and the results from the test, and they will take their lesson plans will be geared towards where it is that we see our children are areas that they need to improve in or strengthen in. And so it is, I'm very, very happy I'm very proud of it. Head Start is a proven program that's celebrating 60 years 60 years this year, Head Start.
And y'all
across
have Head
the country.
Starts throughout all the counties y'all serve.
All 9 counties that we serve, we have our Head Start program, and so it is. So that is one that I'm particularly very, very, very much proud of. Very proud of the things we do with our little ones.
Sounds like you should be. A lot of good things happening. And
Yes.
well, one last question for you. I'll always like to ask, what advice would you give your younger self? If you would starting things all over again, what advice would you give your first job you're starting your first job? What would you tell yourself?
I think I would tell myself to take advantage of every opportunity that's presented. Even if you're not in a profession that you want to end up in eventually, I would say take the opportunity to learn and to grow, because you can learn from anywhere, and those skills that you learn, that they will be universal no matter where you are. So always take an opportunity to be able to say, I am in a position, I may not be where I want to be right now, but I'm going to make the most of where I am at this time, because what I learn here, I'll be able to take with me. And no matter where you go, what job you go, what type of job, or wherever it is that you go in life, you're able to take that with you, because no one can take anything from you that you have learned.
I like it. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think that's a great place to leave this. And Ms. Hamilton, thank you so much for coming on. And if we can ever have you again back, if you ever want to come back again, you're more than welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it, and I've had a wonderful time.
Thank you so much. Everyone, thank you all for tuning in. Everybody have a great day.